Have you ever tried to imagine the edge of the universe? Not just the farthest star you can see, not just the last galaxy ever caught in a telescope's gaze, but the true edge of everything. Try for a moment to picture what lies beyond that horizon, past the furthest distance light has ever traveled, beyond the veil of the observable, into realms we cannot touch or measure. It is one of those thoughts that stretches the mind until it almost aches. A question so vast, it makes reality itself feel like a dream. Tonight, we are going to drift into that mystery together. We will wander gently through the story of the universe's expansion, through horizons we cannot see, and through theories that suggest there may be far more beyond than we can ever imagine. Some of what you hear may feel strange, perhaps even unsettling, but let it wash over you like waves, calming and slow. This journey is not about finding answers. It is about resting in the beauty of questions too large to resolve. I am curious to know where you are listening from tonight. Wherever you are, there is no need to hold on to every word. If your eyes grow heavy and you drift into sleep, that is perfectly fine. These thoughts are here to soothe you as much as they are here to spark wonder. And if you find comfort in these quiet explorations, I would be grateful if you considered subscribing, so that others might also discover this gentle corner of the universe, one sleepy listener at a time. Now, let us begin. Imagine standing beneath a perfectly clear night sky. The stars are sharp and countless, scattered across the black like silver dust. To the eye, they appear fixed and unmoving, eternal pinpoints that have always been there. But the truth is far stranger. Every single star, every single galaxy is in motion, carried not just through space, but by space itself stretching and expanding. The universe is not a static stage. It is a living fabric, growing larger with every passing second. And yet, the question lingers. If space is expanding, what is it expanding into? What lies beyond the edge of everything? The thought of an edge to the universe lingers like a dream, and yet to understand what it might mean, we must first explore how the universe itself moves and grows. When you look at the stars, they seem fixed in their places, but this is an illusion born of distance and time. In truth, the universe is expanding, carrying galaxies apart from one another in a vast and ceaseless drift. This expansion is not like a cluster of ships sailing away across an ocean. It is not even like sparks shooting outward from a fire. It is space itself that is stretching, making room between galaxies, inflating like a fabric being pulled from every direction at once. Astronomers first noticed this strange truth in the early 20th century when they observed the light from distant galaxies. That light was stretched, shifted toward the red end of the spectrum, as though the galaxies themselves were racing away from us. The farther away they were, the faster they appeared to be receding. This discovery changed everything. It revealed that the universe had not always been as it is now. It had once been smaller, denser, and hotter, and it had been expanding ever since. Picture a balloon with tiny dots drawn on its surface. As the balloon inflates, the dots all move away from one another. None of them are at the center. None of them are moving because they are walking across the surface. They are being carried apart because the balloon itself is expanding. This is a simple image for something far grander. Our galaxies are like those dots. They drift apart not because they are rushing through pre-existing space, but because space itself is stretching and carrying them. But here is the strangeness. When we imagine the balloon, we picture it in a room, surrounded by air. We imagine the balloon growing into something else. Yet the universe has no such room, no surrounding air, no greater container into which it expands. The expansion of space is not happening into something else. It is space itself creating more of itself. And that is where the human mind struggles. because our experience is bound to containers and boundaries. We cannot picture an expansion without an outside, yet that is exactly what the universe is doing. This raises the idea of horizons. Just as standing on Earth allows you to see only as far as the curve of the planet, so too in the universe there are limits to how far we can see. We call this the observable universe. It stretches in every direction for about 46 billion light-years. This does not mean the universe is only that size. It means that is the limit of what light has reached us since the beginning of time. Beyond that horizon, more space exists, more galaxies, more stars, more worlds. They are hidden not because they are absent, but because their light has not had enough time to cross the distance to our eyes. Imagine standing by the sea on a foggy day. The water stretches beyond sight, but the mist hides it. You know the sea does not end where your eyes fail. You know it continues beyond the fog. The same is true of the universe. What we see is only a portion, a circle of light around us, bounded not by walls but by time. Beyond it lies more, and perhaps endlessly more. If the universe is infinite, then this horizon is not an edge at all, but simply the limit of our vision. There is no border waiting beyond. There is only more universe, stretching without end, a true infinity of galaxies. To travel outward would never bring you to a wall. It would only bring you to more stars, more light, more endlessness. And yet, if the universe is not infinite, then perhaps it curves back upon itself. If so, there may be no edge either, only a loop. You could travel in one direction forever, circling through space and returning to your starting point. Finite, but without a boundary. Either possibility is staggering. Infinity overwhelms the imagination. A finite but unbounded universe confuses the mind, leaving us with a shape we cannot easily picture. Yet both reveal the same truth. The universe, whether endless or curved, does not have an edge in the way we understand edges. There is no cosmic wall. There is no final border. There is only horizon, distance, and mystery. The expansion itself is not gentle. It is accelerating. Something we call dark energy is driving galaxies apart faster and faster. The more space expands, the more of this mysterious energy seems to appear, pushing on the fabric of reality itself. Imagine a tide that grows stronger the more it rises, carrying everything with it. That is what the universe is doing. Galaxies are drifting farther apart at ever greater speeds, so that in the distant future, many will slip beyond even the horizon of the observable universe, vanishing forever from our sight. It is humbling to think that the night sky we see now is temporary. The distant galaxies glowing faintly at the edge of visibility will one day be gone from our perspective, carried away by the expansion of space. Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, will one day merge with Andromeda, forming a single larger galaxy. Beyond that, perhaps only a handful of galaxies will remain visible to us at all. The universe is not a still picture but a living motion, changing constantly, even if the timescales are beyond what we can easily grasp. And so, when we ask what lies beyond the edge of the universe, we must first understand that the universe itself is expanding, and that the only true edge we know is the horizon of what light has had time to reach us. Beyond that lies more, though we may never know how much or what form it takes. Beyond that lies the mystery of infinity, or of a space that curves upon itself in silence. Beyond that lies the unknown, the part of the story we cannot see but can still imagine. As you rest tonight, picture yourself drifting outward, past the stars, past the galaxies, past the horizon of light. Imagine the universe stretching around you, infinite or curved, endless or looping. Let the thought be not frightening but soothing. a reminder that you are part of something vast and ancient. You are made of stardust, carried by time, resting on a planet that floats within this endless expansion. You belong to the universe as much as it belongs to you. So let the question remain. Let the mystery be your comfort. Beyond the edge of the universe lies something we cannot know, but it is gentle enough to hold your imagination tonight. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, and let the expansion of space carry you into dreams. To understand what might exist beyond the edge of the universe, we must look back to the very beginning, to a time when the universe itself was still newborn. When astronomers trace the expansion of galaxies backward in time, they find that everything once lay closer together. The universe was once denser, hotter, and smaller, compressed into a state beyond comprehension. Out of that density came the great unfolding we call the Big Bang. But the story is not as simple as a single explosion, for within the first tiny fraction of a second, something extraordinary is believed to have happened, something called inflation. Inflation theory tells us that the universe expanded faster than light itself, not in the way that objects move through space, but in the way that space itself stretches. Imagine a balloon, not inflating gently, but swelling instantly from the size of a pebble to the size of a galaxy in an immeasurable blink. That is the kind of growth inflation suggests. It happened so quickly that regions of space which were once in contact were pulled apart beyond reach, creating a universe far larger than we could ever see. The numbers are staggering. This growth is thought to have happened in less than a trillionth of a second, and yet in that sliver of time, the universe expanded many orders of magnitude beyond its original size. It smoothed out irregularities, stretching tiny fluctuations into the seeds of galaxies. Without inflation, the universe might have been a tangled chaos. With inflation, it became a vast and even canvas upon which stars and worlds could form. This idea changes how we think about the edge of the universe, because if inflation happened once, it may have happened elsewhere, and it may still be happening. In this view, our universe is not the only one. It is a bubble within a larger froth of bubbles, each formed by inflation, each growing into its own universe, with its own physics, its own stars, its own story. If that is true, then beyond the edge of our universe lies not emptiness, but other universes, countless and strange, hidden from us forever but real in their own way. Picture a vast sea of foam, each bubble expanding, each bubble separate yet connected. Our universe would be only one of those bubbles, one of countless others, drifting in a greater reality we cannot see. Some bubbles may be larger, some smaller. Some might have laws of nature unlike our own. Perhaps in one universe, gravity is weaker. In another, stars never form. In yet another, life takes shapes we cannot even imagine. If the multiverse exists, then the edge of our universe is not the edge of everything. It is only the boundary of our bubble, beyond which lie other bubbles expanding into their own infinities. But even if there are no other universes, inflation tells us something important about our own. It tells us that the universe is far larger than the part we can observe. The horizon of light is not the true boundary. It is only the part we can see. Inflation stretched the universe so far, so fast, that the regions beyond our vision may be infinite. What lies past our horizon could be more of the same. Galaxies upon galaxies extending endlessly. Or it could be stranger, regions where conditions are not quite the same as here, shaped by fluctuations during inflation that left their mark on distant realms. The thought is overwhelming. Imagine looking out across the sea. The horizon is not the end of the water, only the limit of your sight. Inflation tells us that the universe is the same. We see as far as light has traveled to us, but beyond that horizon lies a sea so vast we cannot ever hope to reach its shore. What lies there is unknown, but it is not nothing. It is more universe, stretched into silence by the rapid growth of its first moments. Even within our own observable universe, inflation left its fingerprints. The galaxies we see, the clusters and filaments of light that weave across the cosmos, are the stretched remnants of tiny fluctuations in the infant universe. What began as minute variations in density were pulled apart by inflation, seeded into the patterns that became the scaffolding for galaxies. Every star, every world, every breath we take is in some sense the result of those first ripples amplified by cosmic inflation. It is humbling to realize that without that strange expansion, we might not be here at all. And so the edge of the universe is not a single boundary waiting at the end of space. It is a shifting concept shaped by inflation, by horizons, by the limits of light. Beyond it may lie infinite galaxies or other universes entirely, each hidden but perhaps just as real as our own. It is a mystery that may never be solved, yet it comforts us to know that the story of the cosmos is far larger than the circle of light we can see. Imagine yourself floating in the darkness of space, drifting past stars and galaxies, past clusters and filaments, until the light grows thin. Beyond that horizon you cannot see, but you know more lies there. You imagine other galaxies glowing faintly in the distance, too far for their light to ever reach you. And beyond those galaxies, perhaps entire other universes drifting in silence. You will never see them, but you can still dream of them, and in dreaming, they become part of you. The human mind is not built for infinity. It is built for rooms, for paths, for fields and forests. And yet when we close our eyes, we can stretch beyond that. We can imagine the impossible, the endless, the unknown. That is the gift of mystery. That is the comfort of not knowing. Beyond the edge of the universe lies something too vast to hold, but tonight it can cradle you as you drift into rest. So close your eyes and breathe slowly. Let the idea of inflation carry you. Let the thought of universes beyond universes wash over you like a tide. You do not need to understand it fully. You do not need to solve the puzzle. You can simply rest in wonder, safe in the knowledge that the cosmos is larger than fear, older than worry, and gentle enough to hold you through the night. When we ask what exists beyond the edge of the universe, we are really asking about sight, about distance, and about time. The cosmos does not have an edge in the way a wall marks the end of a room. What we call the edge is something subtler, something woven from the way light travels and the way time unfolds. It is called the cosmic horizon, the farthest boundary of what we can see. To understand this horizon is to glimpse the vastness of what lies beyond. Light is our messenger. Every star, every galaxy, every distant flame in the night sky speaks to us only through its light. But light does not travel instantly. It moves at a finite speed, 300,000 kilometers every second. That is unimaginably fast by human standards, yet the universe is so immense that even light takes billions of years to cross its reaches. When you look at a star, you are not seeing it as it is now, but as it was years ago when its light began the journey. The farther away the star, the farther back in time you are looking. This means that the sky is not a snapshot of the present. It is a tapestry of the past, with each point of light a memory from a different age. Some of the faintest galaxies we can see are not just far in distance but far in time, their glow traveling to us across nearly the entire history of the cosmos. We are looking not only outward but backward. And so, the edge of the observable universe is also the edge of time we can witness. Imagine standing on a beach at night, a lantern in your hand. Its glow stretches only so far before it is swallowed by darkness. Beyond that distance, the beach still continues, but you cannot see it. Your light has not reached there. The cosmic horizon works in much the same way. The universe stretches far beyond what we can see, but its light has not yet had time to reach us. We know the shore is there, but it remains hidden in the dark. This horizon lies about 46 billion light-years away in every direction. That distance is greater than the age of the universe might suggest, because while the light was traveling toward us, space itself was expanding, stretching the path it had to cross. This means that galaxies we see now as they were billions of years ago are actually much farther away than they appeared when the light first began its journey. The horizon is not a fixed wall but a shifting limit shaped by the stretching of space. Beyond that horizon, more space exists, more galaxies drift, more stars burn, more worlds spin in silence. They are not absent, they are only hidden. The universe did not stop at the edge of our vision. It continues, perhaps endlessly, and that thought alone is enough to quiet the mind into wonder. Yet the horizon carries another meaning. It is not just the boundary of what we can see, but also the boundary of what can ever reach us. Some galaxies are already slipping away faster than light, not because they are moving through space, but because space itself between us and them is stretching too quickly. Their light, once emitted, can never reach us. They are lost beyond the cosmic horizon, cut off from our future forever. This does not mean they are gone. They continue to exist, but we will never know them, never touch their light. The universe is not just vast, it is veiled. The horizon reminds us that even with our greatest tools, we are still enclosed within a bubble of perception. We see only a fragment of the whole, a thin slice of reality lit by the torch of light. Beyond that lies the unknown, not because it is unreachable in space, but because it is unreachable in time. To wait would be to wait forever, and still the light would not arrive. It is humbling, but it is also beautiful. The horizon gives us perspective. It reminds us that the universe is larger than us, larger than our reach, larger than our need to know. It teaches us patience and awe. Just as the horizon on Earth does not mark the end of the world but only the limit of our view, so too the cosmic horizon is not the end of the universe, but the edge of our sight. Beyond it lies more, as surely as the ocean continues beyond the mist. Close your eyes and imagine yourself drifting toward this cosmic horizon. Galaxies rush past you, their light faint and ancient. The stars grow fewer, the darkness deeper, until at last you reach the edge where light itself has run out. Beyond it lies silence, not because nothing is there, but because no voice has reached you. It is a quiet beyond quiet, a stillness beyond stillness. You cannot see what lies there, but you can feel the immensity of it. You can sense the continuation of existence, hidden but real. What lies beyond that edge? More galaxies. More universes, perhaps, or maybe realities we cannot imagine, shaped by laws we do not know. It may be infinite space stretching without end. It may be something that curves back upon itself, looping in ways we cannot picture. It may be a multiverse, other bubbles drifting in a larger sea, or it may be something no human has ever thought of. That is the beauty of it. The horizon is not the end of mystery, but the beginning of it. And yet, you do not need to solve this puzzle tonight. You do not need to reach that horizon in your mind. You can rest in the comfort of knowing that the universe is larger than your worries, older than your fears, and quieter than your thoughts. The cosmic horizon, far though it may be, can be a place of peace for you. It is a reminder that you are safe within a vastness that carries you gently through time. So breathe slowly now. Let the horizon drift into your imagination, a circle of light around you, a boundary that is not a wall but a veil. Beyond it lies mystery, and that mystery is enough to soothe you. Sleep now, as the galaxies spin in silence, as the horizon glows faintly in the distance, as the universe holds you within its endless embrace. When we think of the universe, it is natural to imagine its shape. The human mind is built to picture edges and surfaces, to imagine beginnings and endings. Yet when it comes to the cosmos, shape becomes more than a simple question of form. The shape of the universe is deeply tied to what lies beyond, to whether the universe is infinite or finite, whether it curves in on itself or stretches endlessly. To drift into these possibilities is to step further into the great mystery of the edge. Scientists often describe the universe in three broad ways. It may be flat, it may be closed, or it may be open. Each possibility tells a different story, not only about the cosmos we see, but also about what lies beyond our vision. Let us explore each of these shapes slowly, gently, letting the ideas settle into our minds like ripples across still water. A flat universe is perhaps the easiest to imagine. Picture a great sheet stretching out in every direction. No matter how far you travel, the sheet continues, unbending, uncurved. In such a universe, parallel lines never meet. The geometry we learn in school holds true even across the largest scales. A flat universe may be infinite, extending forever without edge or boundary. If this is the case, then what lies beyond the horizon we see is simply more of the same. More galaxies, more stars, more space continuing without limit. Yet even a flat universe could be finite in size, though without an edge. Imagine the surface of a cylinder. If you walk in one direction, you will eventually circle around and return to where you began, yet you never encountered a wall or a border. A flat universe might behave in this way, repeating endlessly without a true edge. The difference is that in higher dimensions, such curvature is invisible to us. We can only infer it from the way the universe behaves. Now consider a closed universe. Picture the surface of a sphere, like the Earth itself. From where you stand, it feels flat. You see no curvature beneath your feet. But if you travel far enough, you return to your starting point. A closed universe is finite, but without a boundary. There is no edge to fall from, no border to mark its end. Instead, space curves back upon itself, creating a cosmos that is whole and contained. If this is the case, then beyond the horizon lies more of the same universe, eventually circling back in a great loop. You could journey forever, and yet always remain within the same cosmic whole. A closed universe has a kind of elegance to it. It suggests completeness, a cosmos that is self-contained without need for an outside. It also suggests that the universe could one day stop expanding and begin contracting, folding back into itself in a great reversal. The story of such a universe would be cyclical, without true beginning or end, only endless rising and falling, expansion and collapse. And then there is the open universe. Imagine a saddle, curved outward, stretching endlessly without closing in on itself. An open universe is infinite too, but unlike a flat one, its geometry is forever curved. In such a universe, parallel lines diverge, never meeting. The cosmos stretches outward in all directions, never looping back, never ending. The horizon we see would again be only a fragment of the whole, a circle of light surrounded by an infinity of unseen space. Each of these possibilities carries different meanings for what lies beyond. A flat universe might mean endless galaxies. A closed universe might mean a loop, circling back to itself. An open universe might mean infinite expansion, never returning, always stretching. And yet, for all their differences, each suggests that there is no simple edge, no final wall marking the end. Instead, there are horizons, shapes, and curves, ways of existing that go beyond the human sense of borders. The shape of the universe is not something we can see directly. It must be inferred from the way galaxies move, from the patterns of light left over from the early universe, from the delicate balance of energy and matter. Current evidence suggests that the universe is very close to flat, perhaps perfectly so. If this is true, then the cosmos may indeed stretch forever. But our measurements are only as precise as our tools allow. A universe that appears flat may in truth be curved gently, its loop so vast that we cannot detect it. The mystery remains. It is worth pausing here to reflect on how strange this all is. On Earth, shape is simple. We can see the curvature of a ball, the flatness of a table, the bend of a river. But on cosmic scales, shape becomes something we can only sense through patterns of light and motion. To imagine the universe as a sphere, or as flat, or as a saddle, is to imagine not just geometry but reality itself. The shape of the universe is the shape of existence. Close your eyes for a moment and picture yourself drifting through these possibilities. First, imagine the flat universe, endless and unbending, galaxies stretching forever across a canvas without edges. Then, imagine the closed universe, curved back upon itself like a sphere, so that every journey is a circle, every path a loop. Finally, picture the open universe, curved outward like a saddle, stretching endlessly, never repeating, never closing. Each vision is vast. Each vision is humbling. Each vision reminds you that beyond the horizon lies more, not nothing. And perhaps that is the lesson of shape. No matter how the universe is curved, what lies beyond the edge is not emptiness but continuation. The cosmos is not a box with walls, not a flat plane with borders. It is something deeper, stranger, and more beautiful. Its shape is its story, and its story is larger than any single perspective. As you rest tonight, let these possibilities soothe you. You do not need to decide which shape is true. You do not need to solve the puzzle of infinity. You can simply rest in the knowledge that the universe has form, that it has rhythm, that it carries you within it as it stretches and curves. Beyond the horizon, beyond the edge, lies more of that form, more of that rhythm, more of that quiet beauty. So breathe deeply now. Imagine yourself floating across a flat plane of stars, or circling endlessly around a cosmic sphere, or gliding forever across an open curve. Each vision is a lullaby, each possibility a comfort. The universe, in whatever shape it holds, is large enough to cradle you tonight. Let its vastness be your pillow, its mystery your blanket, its endlessness your dream. Sleep in peace, held in the gentle curve of the cosmos. When we think about the edge of the universe, we often imagine a boundary that marks the end of space and the beginning of something else. But another possibility opens the mind even wider. Perhaps our universe is not the only one. Perhaps it is part of something larger, a vast collection of universes existing side by side, each with its own laws of nature, each with its own story. This idea is called the multiverse, and it is one of the most profound possibilities for what lies beyond the universe we know. The thought of multiple universes can feel overwhelming. We are used to the idea of one reality, one cosmos, one everything. To imagine more than one everything is to stretch the mind almost to breaking. Yet, in the strange mathematics of physics, the multiverse emerges as a natural possibility. Inflation theory, which describes the rapid expansion of space in the earliest instant of time, suggests that inflation may not have happened just once. Instead, it may be an ongoing process, spawning universe after universe like bubbles in a cosmic sea. Picture a pot of water set to boil. As the heat rises, bubbles form and drift, each a tiny pocket of boiling water separate from the others. In a similar way, inflation may create bubbles of space and time, each expanding into its own universe. Our universe would be one such bubble, floating among countless others. Some may have already expanded far beyond our reach, never to touch us. Others may form even now, appearing in places we cannot see. If this vision is true, then the edge of our universe is simply the thin wall of our bubble, beyond which lie other bubbles, each as real as our own. What might these other universes be like? Some may resemble ours, with galaxies and stars, with planets and perhaps even life. Others may be utterly different, shaped by laws of physics not like our own. Imagine a universe where gravity is weaker, where stars cannot form, where darkness reigns without light. Imagine another where forces are stronger, where matter clumps into enormous structures too heavy for life to exist. Imagine a universe where time itself flows differently, or where dimensions unfold in ways we cannot picture. The multiverse allows for every possibility, even those too strange for human imagination. And yet, there is something comforting in this strangeness, because it means that reality is larger than we can ever comprehend. It means that beyond the horizon of our universe lies not emptiness, but more reality, more existence, more possibilities. The edge is not a wall, but a doorway into a greater sea. We may never step through it, but we can dream of what it holds. Some thinkers wonder if these universes ever touch, if their bubbles ever collide. If so, then perhaps the scars of such collisions remain, faint imprints on the fabric of our cosmos, whispers of other realities brushing against our own. Imagine two bubbles drifting together, their surfaces meeting, their insides pressed close. The collision would be cataclysmic, yet it might leave behind traces we could one day discover. If this is true, then our universe carries memories not only of itself, but of others beyond. Others wonder if these universes are completely separate, isolated forever, each sealed within its own walls. If so, then we will never know them, never touch them, never even glimpse their light. They would exist beyond not only our reach, but our knowledge, and yet their existence would still matter. Because even if we cannot know them, they remind us that the cosmos is larger than our own story. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine yourself drifting at the edge of our universe. Galaxies glow behind you, the horizon fades into darkness, and in the distance you see another universe, a faint bubble shimmering in the void. You cannot reach it. You cannot know its contents. But you can feel its presence, vast and mysterious, a reminder that beyond the edge lies more. Perhaps an infinite number of such bubbles surround you, their lights hidden but real, their stories unfolding in silence. The multiverse is not just a scientific idea. It is also a philosophical one. It asks us to consider what it means to exist, what it means to be unique, what it means to belong. If countless universes exist, then our own is not the only one. We are not alone in reality, though we may be forever isolated from others. That can feel humbling, even frightening. But it can also feel deeply soothing, because it means that existence itself is boundless, that life and light and matter are not confined to one fragile bubble. They are part of something far greater, something endless. And if you think about it, even our own universe carries the memory of this vastness. The galaxies we see are only a fraction of what exists. The stars we know are only a whisper of what shines beyond. The edge we imagine is not the end, but a veil behind which the unknown continues. Whether that unknown is more of the same or entirely new, it is enough to inspire wonder. As you lie here tonight, let that wonder cradle you. Imagine yourself floating in the sea of the multiverse, your own bubble expanding gently around you, countless others drifting nearby. You cannot see them, but you know they are there, silent companions in the endless night. Beyond the edge of your universe lies not nothing, but more universes, more possibilities, more realities than you could ever count. Breathe deeply now. Let your thoughts slow. The multiverse is not something you need to solve. It is not a puzzle with a single answer. It is a vision, a possibility, a gentle mystery to carry you toward rest. Beyond the edge of the universe lies more, and that more is enough to soothe you tonight. Sleep in the comfort of infinity. Sleep in the embrace of possibility. Sleep in the quiet of countless universes drifting in silence. When we think of the universe, we usually imagine it as everything that exists: space, time, stars, galaxies, and the endless fabric that holds them. But there is another idea, one that stretches the imagination even further. Perhaps our universe is not all there is. Perhaps beyond what we know lies not only more space, but other dimensions entirely. Dimensions we cannot see or touch, hidden layers of reality folded so close to us that they are invisible yet real. If this is true, then beyond the edge of the universe lies not emptiness, but depth. To begin imagining this, think of a sheet of paper. A small ant walks along its surface. To the ant, the world has only two directions, forward and back, left and right. Up and down do not exist. The ant lives in two dimensions, unable to imagine a third, and yet we can see that third dimension clearly. We can lift the paper, fold it, twist it, place it upon another. The ant's world is flat, but ours is not. To the ant, we might appear as gods, moving in ways it cannot conceive. Now imagine that we are the ant, and our universe is the sheet of paper. We see only 3 dimensions of space and 1 of time. We cannot step outside them. We cannot look beyond them. Yet there may be more, hidden dimensions that surround us, folded tightly, curled too small or stretched too far for us to perceive. To beings that live in those dimensions, we might seem like the ant, blind to a reality greater than our own. Some theories of physics suggest that such extra dimensions are not only possible but necessary. They may help explain the forces of nature, the way particles behave, the very structure of reality. These dimensions may be tiny, rolled up so small that they are forever beyond our vision, or they may be vast, extending beyond our universe into realms we cannot enter. If so, then the edge of the universe is not the end of existence. It is simply the edge of what our senses can perceive. Beyond it lies not nothingness, but more reality hidden in other layers. Imagine standing before a mirror. You see your reflection, a perfect image of yourself, yet trapped within the glass. It cannot step out. It cannot touch you. It exists, yet it is separate. Perhaps other dimensions are like that. Close to us, overlapping with us, yet untouchable. Whole universes may drift within those dimensions, so near and yet forever apart. If so, then beyond our edge lies not emptiness, but neighbors we will never meet. Some thinkers wonder if these dimensions might hold other forms of life, life that does not move through space and time as we do, but through other directions entirely. To such beings, our universe may appear flat and limited, just as the ant's paper world appears flat to us. We would be shadows to them, echoes of a greater reality. The thought is humbling, but it is also beautiful. It suggests that existence is richer than we can know, layered like music, each dimension a note in a song too vast for us to hear in full. Close your eyes and picture this. Imagine our universe as a thin surface, glowing with galaxies, stretching outward like a canvas. Now imagine another surface lying just beside it, filled with its own stars, its own laws, its own story. And then another and another, layer upon layer, a stack of realities like pages in a book. We see only one page, but the book itself may be infinite. Beyond the edge of our page lies more, hidden but real, waiting in silence. Perhaps this is why the universe feels so mysterious. Perhaps we sense, even faintly, that there is more than we can see. The edge is not only a distance, it is also a veil. It hides the greater reality in which we live, a reality that touches us but remains unseen. To dream of these dimensions is to stretch the mind beyond itself, to imagine not just more space, but more directions, more ways of being, more possibilities. And yet we do not need to fear this vastness. It does not diminish us. It enriches us. It means that the story of existence is larger than we believed, that our universe is one verse in a greater song. It means that when we ask what lies beyond the edge, the answer may be more reality, more depth, more wonder. As you rest tonight, let this thought soothe you. Imagine drifting beyond the galaxies, past the horizon of light, and into another dimension. Imagine colors you have never seen, shapes that do not exist in our world, beings moving in ways you cannot describe. It is not frightening. It is gentle, like stepping into a dream where everything is new but everything is safe. Beyond the edge lies not emptiness, but more mystery. And that mystery is soft enough to carry you into sleep. Breathe slowly. Let your thoughts expand, not to solve the puzzle, but to embrace it. You do not need to understand other dimensions to find comfort in them. You only need to know that they may exist, that reality may be layered and rich beyond imagining. The universe you know is already vast, and yet it may be only one part of something greater. Beyond the edge lies more, and that more is enough to hold you gently through the night. When we speak of what might lie beyond the universe, we often imagine distant galaxies, hidden dimensions, or other cosmic bubbles drifting in silence. But there is another possibility, one born not from the vastness of space, but from the strange and subtle world of the very small. It comes from quantum mechanics, the science of particles and probabilities, of uncertainty and possibility. And it suggests that beyond the edge of our universe may lie not only other places, but other versions of reality itself. Quantum mechanics tells us that at the smallest scales, reality is not fixed. Particles do not exist in one definite state until they are measured. Instead, they live in a haze of possibilities, existing in many states at once. Only when observed does one outcome become real, while the others vanish. Or at least, that is how it seems. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics suggest that those other outcomes do not vanish at all. Instead, they branch off into their own realities, their own universes, each as real as the one we experience. This is called the many worlds interpretation, and its implications are staggering. If it is true, then every possibility becomes actual in some universe. Every coin toss, every choice, every random event splits reality into branches. In one universe, the coin lands heads. In another, it lands tails. In one universe, you take the left path. In another, you take the right. Every decision, every chance, creates another reality. Our universe, then, is only one of countless branches, each splitting endlessly into more. Imagine a great tree, its trunk the beginning of time, its branches spreading outward in every direction. Each split in the branches is a moment of possibility, a choice, a chance. Our universe is one branch among many, growing alongside others we cannot see. Beyond the edge of our branch lie countless others, each carrying its own version of reality. Together they form a forest of universes, infinite and alive. The thought is dizzying. It means that somewhere, in some universe, there may be another version of you, living a life shaped by different choices. In one, you turned left instead of right. In another, you spoke when here you were silent. In yet another, your life is entirely different, shaped by events you cannot imagine. These other selves are not dreams. They are as real as you, living in universes just beyond the edge of your own. Yet this vision is not meant to unsettle. It is meant to expand our sense of reality, because it means that existence is richer than we can know. Nothing is lost. Every possibility is played out somewhere. Every path is walked. Every story is told. Our universe is not alone, and neither are we. Some might wonder whether these universes ever touch. Could you slip from one branch to another, crossing into a world where you made a different choice? The laws of quantum mechanics suggest no. Each branch is separate, sealed off, unfolding on its own. But in dreams, in imagination, we sometimes glimpse what might have been. Perhaps this is our mind's way of brushing against the idea of many worlds, of sensing the other paths that lie just beyond our reach. Close your eyes for a moment and picture this. Imagine yourself walking down a path. At a fork in the road, you pause. In one world, you take the left path. In another, you take the right. Both unfold, both are real, both carry you forward into different futures. You, the listener, exist in this world, but another you exists in another. Beyond the edge of your own universe lie countless others, all branching endlessly from moments of choice. This vision of reality is humbling, but it is also comforting. It suggests that the universe wastes nothing. Every possibility is honored, every chance is explored. In the great branching forest of many worlds, there is no lost opportunity, no unwritten story. Somewhere, in some universe, every path is taken. And so when we wonder what lies beyond the edge of our universe, the answer may be not just more space, but more realities, more versions of existence, more of us. The many worlds interpretation also changes how we see ourselves. If every possibility exists, then our choices are both vast and small. Vast because each choice creates another branch. Small because no single choice destroys the others. They all exist, all unfold, all live on. This thought can free us from the weight of regret. Because somewhere, in some universe, every choice was made differently. Somewhere, every mistake was avoided. Somewhere, every dream was realized. And yet, this does not mean our choices here are meaningless. They matter deeply, because this is the branch we live on. This is the story we inhabit. We may never touch the other worlds, but we can cherish this one, knowing that it is part of something infinitely larger. Our lives are not isolated sparks, but threads in an endless tapestry, woven together with countless others we will never see. As you rest tonight, let this vision calm you. Imagine the tree of universes stretching above you, its branches endless, its leaves shimmering with possibility. You are one leaf, one branch, one story. Beyond the edge of your universe lie countless others, but you do not need to hold them all. It is enough to know they exist. It is enough to rest in the knowledge that reality is richer than you can imagine, that nothing is lost, that everything is explored somewhere. Breathe slowly now. Let the thought of infinite branches lull you. You are safe within your own world, yet part of something endless. Beyond the edge of your universe lies not emptiness, but possibility itself. Sleep in the comfort of that vastness. Sleep in the embrace of many worlds, drifting quietly through the night. When we think about the edge of the universe, it is natural to wonder what lies beyond its boundaries right now. But there is another way to look at the question. Instead of asking what lies beyond in space, we can ask what lies beyond in time. The universe is not fixed. It has a history, and it will also have a future. To imagine what lies ahead is to imagine the edge of time itself, the final horizon of all things. The universe is expanding. We know this because galaxies are drifting apart, carried on the stretching of space itself. And we know that this expansion is accelerating, driven by a mysterious force we call dark energy. What does this mean for the future? It means that the fate of the universe depends on how this expansion continues. Different possibilities paint different pictures of the edge of everything. One possibility is the heat death of the universe. Imagine the galaxies drifting farther and farther apart until their light can no longer reach each other. Stars burn out. New stars fail to form. Planets grow cold. In the distant future, only fading embers remain, scattered in an endless darkness. Over unimaginable stretches of time, even those embers fade. Matter decays, energy spreads thin, and the universe grows cold and empty. This is called heat death, though it is really the end of heat, the end of energy, the end of change. It is a universe at rest, stretched to silence. In such a future, the edge of the universe is not a boundary in space, but a boundary in time. It is the moment when all motion ceases, when all differences are smoothed away, when there is nothing left to burn or shine. Beyond that edge lies stillness, a quiet so complete it is hard to imagine. It is not frightening, but deeply still, a final calm after all the storms of cosmic history. Another possibility is called the Big Rip. If dark energy continues to grow stronger, the expansion of the universe may accelerate without end. Galaxies will be torn apart. Stars will be separated from their planets. Eventually, even atoms themselves will be ripped apart by the unstoppable stretching of space. The universe will not simply fade into silence. It will be pulled apart, every thread undone, every structure dissolved. The edge, in this vision, is a tearing, a breaking of the fabric of reality itself. Beyond that edge, there is nothing, because everything has been unraveled. It is a dramatic ending, but it too carries a kind of strange beauty. To think of the universe being stretched until even the smallest particles are separated is to imagine a return to pure energy, a dissolving of structure into light. It is not destruction in the sense of violence, but dissolution in the sense of release. The universe returns to simplicity, to openness, to a kind of infinite freedom. There is another vision still, the Big Crunch. In this future, the expansion of the universe does not continue forever. Instead, gravity eventually overcomes it. The galaxies stop drifting apart. They begin to move back together. The universe contracts, folding inward, growing hotter and denser until it collapses into itself. The stars merge, the galaxies collide, and everything returns to the dense, fiery state from which it began. The universe ends not in silence, but in fire. And yet, some wonder if the Big Crunch is truly an ending. Perhaps it is the beginning of another cycle. If the universe can collapse into itself once, perhaps it can expand again, beginning anew. Perhaps the cosmos breathes in and out, rising and falling across infinite cycles. If so, then the edge of the universe is not a wall but a turning point, not an ending but a renewal. Beyond it lies another universe, another expansion, another story. Each of these visions gives us a different picture of what lies beyond. Heat death offers endless stillness, the fading of all things into silence. The Big Rip offers dissolution, the unweaving of matter into nothingness. The Big Crunch offers fire and collapse, perhaps followed by rebirth. Each is vast, humbling, and beyond our direct knowing. Each reminds us that the universe is not timeless, but alive, with a story that continues beyond us. Imagine for a moment that you could drift into the future, carried far beyond your own lifetime, beyond even the lifetime of stars. Picture galaxies fading from view, the night sky growing emptier as the expansion carries them away. Picture stars burning out, leaving only darkness. Picture matter itself dissolving into silence. It is not frightening if you let it wash over you. It is simply the universe completing its story, returning to calm. Or imagine instead that you drift into a future of contraction. Galaxies grow closer, stars collide, the sky fills with light and fire as the universe folds back upon itself. It is not destruction but return, a great inward journey that may lead to another beginning. Beyond that edge may lie another universe, waiting to be born. Whatever the future holds, it is vast and humbling. It reminds us that we live in a moment, a brief flicker of time in a story that stretches far before and far after us. Beyond the edge of our lives lies the edge of the universe, and beyond that lies mystery. We may never know which future awaits, but we can rest in the knowledge that the cosmos has carried itself through billions of years already, and it will continue long after we are gone. As you close your eyes tonight, let these visions calm you. Imagine drifting not only through space, but through time. Imagine the future stretching out before you, vast and unknown. You do not need to solve it. You do not need to fear it. You can simply let it carry you, like a river carrying a leaf. Beyond the edge of the universe lies not only more space, but more time, more story, more mystery. So breathe deeply now. Let the future unfold in your imagination, not as something to worry over, but as something to marvel at. The universe has always held you, and it always will, whether in stillness, in light, or in silence. Sleep in that comfort, sleep in that wonder, sleep in the embrace of time itself. When we think of the edge of the universe, we often imagine space itself, distant galaxies, or horizons beyond which light cannot reach. But there is another edge to consider, one that is even harder to imagine. What lies beyond the edge of time itself? If the universe had a beginning, and may one day have an end, then time too may have boundaries. And yet, when we try to picture a world without time, our minds stumble. Because time is not just something that flows around us, it is the medium in which we live. It is the rhythm of existence. To think about time is to think about motion and change. We measure time in the rising of the sun, the ticking of a clock, the beating of a heart. But on the scale of the universe, time is something larger, woven into the very fabric of reality. Space and time are not separate. They are united, forming what physicists call space-time, a fabric that bends and stretches with matter and energy. The flow of time is not absolute. It depends on where you are, how fast you move, and how gravity pulls upon you. Time is flexible, yet it still carries us forward. If the universe has an edge in space, it may also have an edge in time. The beginning is easier to imagine. We look backward and see the Big Bang, the moment when everything was compressed into a hot and dense state. Before that, time as we know it may not have existed. Asking what came before the Big Bang may be like asking what lies north of the North Pole. It is a question that dissolves as soon as it is spoken. The edge of time at the beginning may not be a wall, but simply the point where time itself begins. The end of time is harder. We can picture the end of stars, the end of galaxies, even the end of matter itself. But to imagine the end of time is to imagine existence without rhythm, without before and after, without change. If the universe drifts into heat death, time may continue endlessly, but nothing will happen within it. The universe will be a frozen silence, a vast stillness where time ticks on but nothing marks its passing. It will be eternity without motion, endless duration without story. If the universe ends in a big rip, then time itself may be torn apart along with space. In this vision, the acceleration of expansion grows so strong that not only galaxies but also atoms are pulled apart. The very fabric of space-time unravels. Time itself ends, not in silence but in dissolution. There is no after, because there is no time to hold it. Beyond that edge lies nothing we can describe, because description requires time, and time has ceased. If the universe ends in a big crunch, then time may fold back upon itself. As the universe collapses, time may run into a boundary, a final moment where everything returns to the density of the beginning. But some wonder if time then begins again, if the end of one universe is the birth of another. In this vision, time is cyclical, like a wheel turning forever. Beyond the edge of one universe's time lies another, endlessly repeating, endlessly renewing. The question of time is not only about physics, it is also about experience. Our lives are woven from time, each moment carrying us forward, each memory tied to a past, each dream tied to a future. To imagine time ending is to imagine experience itself ending. It is not only galaxies that vanish in heat death, but stories. It is not only atoms that unravel in the big rip, but possibilities. And yet, even this thought can be comforting, because it reminds us that the time we have now is precious. It is a gift given by the universe, a brief spark in the long story of existence. Close your eyes and imagine drifting at the edge of time. Behind you lies the universe, galaxies spinning, stars burning, life unfolding. Ahead of you lies silence, or renewal, or mystery. The edge of time is not frightening if you let it wash over you. It is simply the boundary of our knowing, the place where imagination reaches further than sight. Beyond it lies something we cannot picture, but that does not mean it is nothing. It may be a new universe. It may be a different kind of existence. It may be something our minds cannot hold. There is another possibility. Perhaps time has no edge at all. Perhaps it stretches endlessly in both directions, without beginning or end. Perhaps the Big Bang was not the beginning but only one chapter, and there are countless chapters before and after. If this is true, then beyond the edge of our time lies more time, more story, more existence. We may never know, but the thought itself is enough to stir wonder. When you think about your own life, time can feel small. The days pass, the years pass, and we feel carried along by a current we cannot control. But when you think about the universe, time becomes vast, stretching billions of years into the past and billions more into the future. To place yourself in that scale is to feel both small and infinite. Small, because our lives are brief. Infinite, because we are part of a story that stretches beyond measure. And so, When we ask what lies beyond the edge of time, the answer may not be an ending, but a reminder. A reminder that time itself is a mystery, that its flow is not absolute, that it bends and stretches with the universe, that it may begin and end, or it may not. Whatever lies beyond, it is part of the same vastness that carried us here. It is part of the same mystery that surrounds us now. As you rest tonight, let this thought soothe you. Imagine yourself drifting through time like a river, carried gently forward. The river may run into a sea, or it may circle back into itself, or it may stretch endlessly into the horizon. You do not need to know which. You only need to feel the water carrying you, soft and steady, into dreams. Beyond the edge of time lies mystery, and that mystery is gentle enough to cradle you tonight. So breathe slowly. Let the weight of the day fall away. Let the vastness of time stretch around you, not as something to fear, but as something to wonder at. The edge of time, whatever it may be, is not a wall. It is a doorway into silence, or renewal, or infinity. Sleep now in the comfort of that doorway, safe in the embrace of time itself. When we think of the edge of the universe, we often imagine space itself, distant galaxies, or horizons beyond which light cannot reach. But there is another edge to consider, one that is even harder to imagine: what lies beyond the edge of time itself. If the universe had a beginning and may one day have an end, then time, too, may have boundaries. And yet, when we try to picture a world without time, our minds stumble. Because time is not just something that flows around us, it is the medium in which we live. It is the rhythm of existence. To think about time is to think about motion and change. We measure time in the rising of the sun, the ticking of a clock, the beating of a heart. But on the scale of the universe, time is something larger, woven into the very fabric of reality. Space and time are not separate. They are united, forming what physicists call space-time, a fabric that bends and stretches with matter and energy. The flow of time is not absolute. It depends on where you are, how fast you move, and how gravity pulls upon you. Time is flexible, yet it still carries us forward. If the universe has an edge in space, it may also have an edge in time. The beginning is easier to imagine. We look backward and see the Big Bang, the moment when everything was compressed into a hot and dense state. Before that, time as we know it may not have existed. Asking what came before the Big Bang may be like asking what lies north of the North Pole. It is a question that dissolves as soon as it is spoken. The edge of time at the beginning may not be a wall, but simply the point where time itself begins. The end of time is harder. We can picture the end of stars, the end of galaxies, even the end of matter itself. But to imagine the end of time is to imagine existence without rhythm, without before and after, without change. If the universe drifts into heat death, time may continue endlessly, but nothing will happen within it. The universe will be a frozen silence, a vast stillness where time ticks on but nothing marks its passing. It will be eternity without motion, endless duration without story. If the universe ends in a big rip, then time itself may be torn apart along with space. In this vision, the acceleration of expansion grows so strong that not only galaxies but also atoms are pulled apart. The very fabric of space-time unravels. Time itself ends, not in silence, but in dissolution. There is no after, because there is no time to hold it. Beyond that edge lies nothing we can describe, because description requires time, and time has ceased. If the universe ends in a big crunch, then time may fold back upon itself. As the universe collapses, time may run into a boundary, a final moment where everything returns to the density of the beginning. But some wonder if time then begins again, if the end of one universe is the birth of another. In this vision, time is cyclical, like a wheel turning forever. Beyond the edge of one universe's time lies another, endlessly repeating, endlessly renewing. The question of time is not only about physics, it is also about experience. Our lives are woven from time, each moment carrying us forward, each memory tied to a past, each dream tied to a future. To imagine time ending is to imagine experience itself ending. It is not only galaxies that vanish in heat death, but stories. It is not only atoms that unravel in the Big Rip, but possibilities. And yet, even this thought can be comforting, because it reminds us that the time we have now is precious. It is a gift given by the universe, a brief spark in the long story of existence. Close your eyes and imagine drifting at the edge of time. Behind you lies the universe, galaxies spinning, stars burning, life unfolding. Ahead of you lies silence, or renewal, or mystery. The edge of time is not frightening if you let it wash over you. It is simply the boundary of our knowing, the place where imagination reaches further than sight. Beyond it lies something we cannot picture, but that does not mean it is nothing. It may be a new universe. It may be a different kind of existence. It may be something our minds cannot hold. There is another possibility. Perhaps time has no edge at all. Perhaps it stretches endlessly in both directions, without beginning or end. Perhaps the Big Bang was not the beginning, but only one chapter, and there are countless chapters before and after. If this is true, then beyond the edge of our time lies more time, more story, more existence. We may never know, but the thought itself is enough to stir wonder. When you think about your own life, time can feel small. The days pass, the years pass, and we feel carried along by a current we cannot control. But when you think about the universe, time becomes vast, stretching billions of years into the past and billions more into the future. To place yourself in that scale is to feel both small and infinite. Small, because our lives are brief. Infinite, because we are part of a story that stretches beyond measure. And so, when we ask what lies beyond the edge of time, the answer may not be an ending, but a reminder. A reminder that time itself is a mystery, that its flow is not absolute, that it bends and stretches with the universe, that it may begin and end, or it may not. Whatever lies beyond, it is part of the same vastness that carried us here. It is part of the same mystery that surrounds us now. As you rest tonight, let this thought soothe you. Imagine yourself drifting through time like a river, carried gently forward. The river may run into a sea, or it may circle back into itself, or it may stretch endlessly into the horizon. You do not need to know which. You only need to feel the water carrying you, soft and steady, into dreams. Beyond the edge of time lies mystery, and that mystery is gentle enough to cradle you tonight. So breathe slowly, let the weight of the day fall away. Let the vastness of time stretch around you, not as something to fear, but as something to wonder at. The edge of time, whatever it may be, is not a wall. It is a doorway into silence, or renewal, or infinity. Sleep now in the comfort of that doorway, safe in the embrace of time itself. When we speak of the edge of the universe, we step into a mystery that stretches far beyond science. It is not only galaxies and horizons that lie beyond our reach, it is also our own ability to imagine infinity. The human mind was shaped by survival, by days and nights, by seasons and cycles. We count years. We measure distances we can walk. We build maps of the places we know. But when we try to imagine infinity, or an edge that is not really an edge, our minds stumble. And in that stumbling, there is beauty. Because the edge of the universe is not only a scientific question, it is also a question of consciousness. To be conscious is to be aware of time and space. We live inside of them. We feel them flow around us, yet we cannot step outside them to see the whole. We ask what came before time, but our minds can only think in terms of before and after. We ask what lies beyond space, but our minds can only think in terms of inside and outside. To imagine infinity is to stretch the mind until it almost breaks. And yet this stretching is one of the deepest forms of wonder. Think about how children ask questions. Why is the sky blue? What is beyond the stars? Where did the world come from? These questions may seem simple, but they are echoes of the same mystery we face as adults. They are the first signs of the mind brushing against infinity. Consciousness is restless. It wants to know. But when it meets something too large to know, it still does not stop. It keeps reaching, even when it cannot grasp. That reaching is what makes us human. Some philosophers have said that the mind cannot truly comprehend infinity. We can use the word. We can picture numbers getting larger and larger, but we cannot hold infinity itself in our thoughts. We can never fully imagine something without end. When we try, we end up picturing something vast, but then we wonder what lies beyond that, and beyond that still. The mind always adds another step. In this way, the idea of infinity is both impossible and irresistible. It is the question that never closes. And yet, perhaps consciousness does not need to fully understand infinity. Perhaps it is enough simply to touch it. To lie under the night sky, to feel the vastness pressing gently on us, to know that there is more than we can hold. That feeling itself is a kind of truth. It reminds us that our minds are small but also extraordinary, capable of wonder as well as reason. Close your eyes and picture yourself looking out into the night. The stars scatter across the sky, each one older than memory. As you look, you feel a sense of scale too large for words. You cannot picture the distances, you cannot imagine the time. But you can feel it. You can sense the immensity. That sensation is your consciousness brushing against infinity. It is not comprehension, but it is connection. There is also the strange truth that consciousness itself may be tied to the universe in ways we do not yet understand. Our brains are made of stardust, atoms forged in ancient stars. The electrical signals that fire within us follow the same physical laws that govern the galaxies. When we wonder about the edge of the universe, it is the universe itself wondering through us. We are not outside observers looking in. We are part of the cosmos looking at itself. This thought is humbling, but it is also soothing. It means that our minds are not separate from the mystery they try to grasp. We belong to it. We arise from it. When we feel wonder, we are not standing apart from the cosmos. We are expressions of its own endlessness. Consciousness is one way the universe knows it exists. And perhaps this is why the question of the edge is so powerful. Because in asking it, the universe reflects on itself, like a mirror gazing into another mirror. Some thinkers suggest that consciousness might be able to experience infinity in ways reason cannot. In meditation, in dreams, in states of awe, the mind sometimes feels unbound, as though it is drifting without edges, carried into silence and space beyond measure. These moments may not be logical, but they are deeply real. They suggest that the human spirit is capable of touching infinity, not with thought, but with feeling. Imagine yourself drifting into such a state now. You are not limited by walls or borders. You are floating in endless space, not frightened, Not searching, just present. Time slows. The sense of self fades. What remains is awareness, calm and clear, stretching without end. This is consciousness touching the edge of the universe, not as a puzzle to solve, but as a mystery to rest in. And so, when we ask what lies beyond the edge, we may not need to look only to telescopes or theories. We may also look inward, because the very act of wondering stretches us. The edge is as much within as it is without. It is the limit of what we can imagine, and the beauty is that we try anyway. The mystery is not only out there in the cosmos, it is also here in our awareness, in our longing to know. As you rest tonight, let that longing soften. You do not need to solve infinity. You do not need to reach the end of time. You only need to rest in the mystery, knowing that your consciousness is already part of it. Beyond the edge of the universe lies something vast and unknown. But within you lies the same wonder, the same reaching, the same light. To feel, that is enough. So, breathe slowly. Let your thoughts quiet. Let the mystery remain open. The edge of the universe is not a wall but a horizon, and beyond it lies more than you can imagine. Sleep in the comfort of that more. Sleep in the knowledge that your consciousness is a spark of the infinite, carried gently through the night by the same universe you wonder about. The question of what lies beyond the edge of the universe is not new. It is not only a puzzle of modern science, it is a question that has followed humanity for as long as we have gazed into the night sky. Long before telescopes, long before mathematics described the expansion of space, people wondered where the stars ended and what lay beyond them. The history of this question is as much about philosophy and imagination as it is about physics. Ancient people looked up and saw the heavens as a dome above them. The earth seemed flat, the sky seemed like a curved ceiling, and beyond that ceiling, they imagined realms of gods or spirits. The edge of the universe was thought to be a barrier, and beyond it lay the divine. For some, it was a place of light and perfection. For others, it was chaos, a realm of monsters and darkness. The cosmos was not infinite. It was a great enclosure, and beyond it lay mystery. As centuries passed, new ideas began to take shape. In ancient Greece, philosophers began to argue about the nature of the cosmos. Some believed the universe was finite, a sphere surrounded by a boundary beyond which there was nothing. Others imagined an infinite cosmos stretching without end. Both ideas were difficult to accept. A finite universe raised the question of what lies outside. An infinite one was impossible to picture. Even then, the human mind wrestled with the same problem we face today. Aristotle believed the heavens were made of a perfect substance, unlike anything on earth. To him, the stars were eternal, moving in circles without change. Beyond the outermost sphere lay the unmoved mover, a kind of pure existence that caused all motion without itself being moved. This was not science as we know it, but it was a way of answering the question of the edge. For Aristotle, beyond the universe was not space, but the divine principle of existence. Centuries later, as new cultures rose and fell, the question took on new forms. In medieval times, many believed the universe was finite and ordered, created by a higher power. The edge of the universe was not a physical boundary, but the limit of creation itself. Beyond it was the realm of the Creator, timeless and eternal. This idea gave comfort because it suggested that the universe was not random but purposeful. The edge was not emptiness but connection to something greater. With the rise of modern science, the picture began to change. Telescopes revealed that the stars were not fixed points on a dome, but distant suns, each in its own right. The universe grew larger in human understanding. Galaxies were discovered, vast collections of stars, and beyond them more galaxies, stretching farther than anyone had imagined. The universe no longer seemed like a small, enclosed space. It seemed vast, perhaps endless. The question of the edge grew deeper, not simpler. Philosophers of the modern age also wrestled with infinity. Some argued that the human mind could never truly grasp it. Others said that infinity was not a real thing, only a concept. Still others believed that infinity was the truest expression of the cosmos. Each argument circled back to the same mystery. If the universe has an edge, what lies beyond? If it does not, how can something have no end? Even today, science does not give a final answer. Theories suggest possibilities, but the truth remains hidden. And perhaps this is why the question continues to live in both philosophy and art. Because it is not only about physics. It is about meaning. To ask what lies beyond the universe is also to ask where we belong within it, what role we play, what it all means. Think about the way poets describe the night sky. They speak of it as a sea, as a veil, as an endless road. They do not need to measure distances or describe equations. They reach for metaphor, for images that capture the feeling of standing at the edge of knowing. That feeling is timeless. It is the same awe felt by ancient peoples staring into the stars. It is the same wonder you feel tonight as you listen. Close your eyes and picture the philosophers of long ago, sitting beneath the same stars you see now. They did not know about galaxies or expansion, but they asked the same questions. They imagined edges and infinities, boundaries and cycles. Their answers were different, but their wonder was the same. In that way, we are connected to them, not by knowledge, but by mystery. The question itself is a thread that ties us across time. The beauty of philosophy is that it does not demand final answers. It allows us to sit with mystery, to turn it in our hands like a stone polished by water. The edge of the universe may never be known in the way we wish, but philosophy teaches us that this is not failure. It is part of what makes the question powerful. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved, but to be lived with, to be felt deeply, to shape the way we see the world. And so, when you think of the edge of the universe, you are not only thinking of galaxies and horizons, you are joining a conversation that has lasted for thousands of years. You are sitting beside ancient thinkers, medieval dreamers, modern scientists, all of them gazing outward, all of them asking the same impossible question. The answers change, but the wonder does not. As you drift tonight, let that wonder be your comfort. You do not need to know whether the universe is finite or infinite, whether it has an edge or not. You only need to know that asking the question places you in a long line of seekers, each touched by the same stars, each cradled by the same sky. Beyond the edge of the universe lies mystery. Beyond the edge of certainty lies wonder. Both are enough to guide you into rest. So breathe slowly now. Let the voices of history fade into silence. Let the question remain, open and alive, as you fall gently into sleep. The edge of the universe may never be reached, but the journey of wondering is itself a kind of peace. Rest in that peace tonight, as countless others have before you, looking up at the same stars, dreaming the same dreams. For as long as people have looked into the night sky, they have not only asked scientific questions, but also told stories. Myths and imagination have always been our way of touching what we cannot reach, of painting pictures where knowledge is silent. The edge of the universe has always been one of those places, a horizon for the human spirit. Across cultures and times, stories have been woven to explain what lies beyond, each one reflecting the fears and hopes of its people. In many ancient myths, the universe was not endless but enclosed. The heavens were imagined as a dome stretched above the earth, and beyond that dome lay mystery. For some cultures, beyond the sky was water, a great sea of chaos from which the world had been born. In others, beyond the heavens lay realms of gods and ancestors, a place of light or darkness where the human story continued after death. The edge was not nothingness. It was the place where the world of mortals touched the world of the divine. These stories gave comfort. They made the vastness less frightening by filling it with meaning. To imagine the sky as a ceiling and the stars as lamps hung by gods was to turn the unknown into a home. The edge of the universe was not a cold void, but a place of wonder and belonging. Even if the heavens were unreachable, they were part of a story that humans could enter through ritual, dream, or prayer. Other myths imagined the edge as a place of danger. Sailors once believed that if they sailed too far, they might reach the edge of the world and fall into an abyss. Dragons or monsters were said to wait at those edges, guarding the boundaries of the known. These stories reflected the fear of the unknown, the sense that beyond the horizon lay chaos. The edge was not just distance, it was risk, the boundary between order and danger. As time went on, imagination expanded. Philosophers and storytellers began to picture infinite space, not just enclosed heavens. Some dreamed of countless worlds beyond our own, each with its own people and its own gods. Others imagined that the stars were suns, each with its own system of planets. These ideas were not proven then, but they show how imagination began to break open the dome of the ancient sky. The edge was no longer a ceiling but a gateway to other worlds. In modern times, imagination has taken new forms through science fiction. Writers have dreamed of starships traveling to the edge of the galaxy, of explorers crossing into other universes, of portals that open to realms beyond time and space. These stories are not science, but they are ways of asking the same question. What lies beyond the horizon? What happens if we go too far? The answers are sometimes hopeful, sometimes terrifying, but always filled with wonder. Think about how stories often describe the edge. Sometimes it is a wall of light, beyond which lies eternity. Sometimes it is a vast sea, stretching without end. Sometimes it is a doorway, glowing with promise. Each image is a mirror of the human heart. We long for meaning, for adventure, for connection. We fear loss, chaos, and nothingness. The stories we tell about the edge reflect those longings and fears. Close your eyes and imagine yourself standing at the edge of the universe as the storytellers described it. In one vision, you stand before a great dome, its surface glowing with stars like jewels. Beyond it lies the realm of gods, waiting in silence. In another vision, you stand before a sea without end, its waves made of light. Beyond it lies chaos, dangerous but full of possibility. In yet another, you stand before a doorway that opens into another world, one you cannot yet imagine. Each story offers a different picture, but each touches the same mystery. It is easy to think of myth and imagination as separate from science, but in truth, they are connected. The myths of the past were humanity's first attempts to explain the universe. They were ways of giving shape to the unknown. And even today, when we speak of multiverses, horizons, and infinities, we use imagination to carry us where equations alone cannot go. Science tells us what may be, but imagination gives us pictures we can feel. Without imagination, even science would be incomplete. What is striking is that across cultures, the edge of the universe has almost always been seen as a place of transition. Whether it was the dome of the heavens, the sea of chaos, or the gateway to other realms, the edge was never just an ending. It was a threshold. Beyond it lay something else, something different. It might be divine, it might be dangerous, it might be infinite. But it was never nothing. The human spirit seems unable to accept pure emptiness. Instead, it fills the unknown with story, with meaning, with possibility. This may be why the edge of the universe continues to fascinate us. It is not only a scientific horizon, but also a symbol. It is the place where knowledge ends and imagination begins. It is the reminder that no matter how much we learn, there will always be more to wonder at. The edge is not the end of curiosity. It is the beginning of it. As you rest tonight, let these stories cradle you. Imagine yourself listening to the voices of those who came before, sitting by fires, gazing at the same stars. They told stories to make sense of what they saw, to comfort themselves, to pass wonder from one generation to the next. You are part of that same tradition. You are still telling the story of the edge, still asking the same questions. Beyond the universe lies mystery, and in that mystery we find not fear, but connection. So breathe slowly. Let the myths of the past and the dreams of the present weave together in your mind. Let the images of domes, seas, and doorways drift through your thoughts like clouds. You do not need to choose which is true. You only need to rest in the knowledge that humans have always wondered and always will. Beyond the edge of the universe lies more, and that more is enough to carry you gently into sleep.